the reputation we have. And so it's good to have some guidelines for that, because we need to, in our own personal use and from the workplace standpoint, consider the public perception of our organization. And in what we do, even in our own personal side of social networking, we are ambassadors in some small or large way, depending on our roles, how we're using social networking. We are an ambassador who we are. And so just as we've talked about before, what we do becomes public in social networking. We don't want a billboard to show up in town that says, "Our staff talks about you on Facebook. Come see us soon." That would create problems, as you all could expect. And so with that, as organizations implement social networking policies, and again, the reasons behind it, it's not because they, as organizations, they want to be Big Brother and tell people what they can say and do online, but it's ultimately to protect the name of that organization, the privacy and reputation of that organization in the public's mind. And so we just all need to be careful and be aware of that and the importance of that, because that comes back to our ability to have a job often. And so workplace policies, generally for a lot of organizations, the goal is just to provide some guidelines and to be able to give some best practices on how we're using social networking. To establish that caution is important in what we do, especially discussing workplace issues, and to be proactive in addressing the pitfalls and to let people know that there are potential consequences in the workplace with what we do. It's kind of the reason behind policies. And really, when we think about this, we need to understand that, quite honestly, all employers, whether they've established a social networking policy or not, they already have existing policies in place that apply to social networking. Currently, you more than likely have a code of conduct policy in place. Well, that code of conduct policy can affect and can address issues that happen in social networking. You have HIPAA privacy policies. Obviously, you can violate HIPAA on a Saturday evening from home from your Facebook page. And if you violate HIPAA in that context, there will be consequences for that. There are workplace harassment policies. You can harass another employee, whether sexual harassment or just workplace harassment, from your social networking activities, whether at work or away from work. And so all of these policies can come into play for what we do in our personal social networking. So be aware that those policies exist, that quite honestly those policies can apply.